brain basically burns up, dries up, swells up, turns to stone, rusts, gets choked by its own blood supply, and gets very old. We're basically developing dementia to some degree or another from 30 and 40 on.
All right, folks, that's some of what you will get if you tune in to Meet the Doctors Saturday right here on Newsmax Television, 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, DirecTV Channel 349, Dish Network Channel 223, and always at NewsmaxTV.com. Joining us now is Nick Tate, Newsmax Deputy Health Editor and Meet the Doctors contributor and author of the Obamacare Survival Guide. And Nick, I just want to let the people know we're offering a special deal right now on the Obamacare Survival Guide. So be sure to go to healthradarnow.com, healthradarnow.com, to get your special offer on the Obamacare Survival Guide book. Welcome, Nick.
Well, thanks, Steve. Good to be with you.
Good to have you. All right, so it's interesting what that soundbite and video that we led into this segment with, talking about the shrinkage of the brain as you get older.
That's right. That's Dr. Eric Braverman. He's one of the nation's leading figures in mind-body medicine, and his philosophy is based on medical science that as we do get older, our brains lose their ability to think, cognitive skills, etc. But the message he has is that there are things you can do to mitigate that loss, slow that loss, and we can all maintain our mental edge as we grow older. You know, his message could not be more timely. There's a new study out just this week that says over the next 3 decades there's going to be a tripling in the number of Americans diagnosed with Alzheimer's, so that by 2050 we'll be spending about $1.5 trillion for all the health care that will be required to care for those folks, which is about half of what we now spend on total health care expenditures for everything in this country. So it's a message we really should heed.
Absolutely. I can't wait to watch the show tomorrow and find out what he suggests, because as we get older and we reach middle age and beyond, you know, you all want to be able to take those steps and try to fight it off. And, you know, has there always been Alzheimer's? I mean, it wasn't always called Alzheimer's, but was there always this much dementia? Or is it something, do the doctors and the medical people in the know attribute it to something we're doing as a society or not doing? I don't know.
It's new, and what's new about it is that we're living longer. And as we live longer than we ever have in history, of course, we're more vulnerable to those age-related diseases like Alzheimer's, as well as cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. But that's why we're seeing so much of it. Something like 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 of every American who hits his 85th or her 85th birthday is at risk of suffering from Alzheimer's. So it's really an artifact of the fact that we're living longer.
And what else is coming up on the show tomorrow, sir?
We do have another spot on a relatively new revolutionary procedure for the treatment of stroke. We talked to one of the leading pioneers who's doing the work here. Essentially, what this technique involves is called a thrombectomy. And what doctors do is in the first few hours after a stroke is they go into the brain and they vacuum out the blood clot, and they can restore function almost immediately. Current conventional treatments for stroke involve the use of TPA, which is a clot-busting drug, but for people to benefit, they need to get treatment within 3 hours of having a stroke, and sadly about 96% of stroke victims don't get to the hospital in that time. With this new thrombectomy procedure, it can be beneficial to patients up to 12 hours after they've had a stroke, and we talked to one of the patients who's former South Carolina Governor Jim Edwards, who had this procedure done, and now at age 87 is feeling as well as he ever has.
That's great. All right, again, tomorrow, watch Nick Tate and others Meet the Doctors, 7 a.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Eastern on Newsmax TV. And be sure to get and take part in our special deal right now. It's going on right now on Nick's great book, The Obamacare Survival Guide. You go to healthradarnow.com and be a part of it. Nick Tate, thank you very much as always, sir.
Thank you, Steve. Be well.
You too. You too. All right, folks. We're going to head to Gimme 5 in the next segment. But wow, you know how many people? Who doesn't know somebody who suffers from Alzheimer's or knows somebody who's caring for somebody who's suffering from Alzheimer's? It's terrible. So maybe some encouraging news tomorrow on the show. Gimme 5 is next.